So Suzanne Bushnell is our garden tour guide, and she worked through the winter putting these photos together, which were generously provided by many of our garden club members last year. So with that said, Suzanne, it's all yours.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you everybody who has tuned in today. I want to welcome you to the first ever virtual tour of the Harpswell Garden Club member gardens. Today, you're going to see gardens in all 4 seasons. You'll see gardens from many perspectives, from ground level to roof level to overhead shots from a drone. Besides seeing 13 member gardens, you'll also get a tour of 4 other gardens that were either part of open garden days or a special members only tour of a garden in Pownell last summer. If your garden is on today's tour, I've put some captions to highlight your photos. And hopefully I figured out what season the garden photo is from. Now, some of you gave Becky photos, which Becky gave to me on a thumb drive and was kind enough to try and describe the date and a little bit about them. So if I didn't quite get the season right, some, late spring, early summer, it's sometimes hard to tell. But if you don't see your garden in one season, you might see it in another season. So keep that in mind. If you want to, and I sent an email to all the gals who have gardens on the tour today, and I've said, and I will repeat it. As your garden comes up, if you want to make some comments about it, then unmute yourself. I'll give you time because it will say, whose garden it is. So you'll know, oh, that's my garden. And so be ready to unmute if you want to say anything. And if you don't, that's okay. I was going to provide music, and Becky and I had tried this earlier before everybody logged on. But unless the music is right in front of my microphone, you don't hear it. So instead of using music, we're just going to you'll see everything captioned. And again, if the owner would like to say something, please unmute yourself. So now sit back and relax and enjoy the tour. So Becky, I will do the share screen now. And we will start the show from the beginning. That's not part of the tour. So whoever has the puppies, if you could please mute yourself, that would be great.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, welcome to the member gardens of the Harpswell Garden Club. And I just want to say for this spring photo, and I know Nancy Simboli has just gotten back from a river cruise where she actually went to the Kuchenhof Garden. So this is a photo I took when my husband Bill and I went to the Kuchenhof Gardens several years ago, and it's just spectacular. You should put it on your bucket list if you haven't been there yet. So here we go. First shot, and if you have problems seeing the whole picture, it might be because some of you are hiding some of the picture. If you have, you'll see on the right-hand side your thumbnail video. If you can minimize that, you'll be able to see the whole photo now. Okay, so this first photo is dedicated to the members who tend to the Harpswell Town Office Gardens at last year's Spring Cleanup Day. And I think some of you who are with us today are in this photo. I think it's a great photo of the spring gardens at the town hall. Next, you're going to see some photos from my garden. And I just wanted to mention that these are galanthus that many, many years ago, Kay Greenwood and I co-chaired a fundraiser where we sold bulbs. So these are some of the bulbs from that actual fundraiser. I lost a sister right after we moved to Maine. Her name was Patricia, and so this garden, I have a garden that's dedicated to her with my garden angel. And I've got lots of daffodils, as I'm sure many of you. Mine, actually, I looked yesterday and mine are just starting to open up. I'm really into garden spinners, and with the storm we had the other day, my spinners were going like crazy. I thought they were going to spin right off of their poles. Some of you may remember when we chartered a bus with some of the other clubs from the Stroudwater district, and we went to the Boston Flower Show. It might have been, oh my gosh, maybe 8-9 years ago. This tulip was a spinner that I found at the Boston Flower Show. This was last year with my hyacinths. They were a little ahead of where they're at right now. I looked at my hyacinths this morning and they've just popped through the ground, and some of them are just starting to develop their color. And my husband and I moved here in 1994, and the first thing I started doing was putting bulbs in the gardens. And now I know I've planted probably, I said over 2,000 bulbs, is probably close to 3,000 bulbs in the garden. Not every one of them now is blooming, as you know, when they get really crowded, you need to dig them up and divide them some, but I've got a lot of bulbs. Here we are. Mary, I think this is, I put a couple of yours that you gave me from, I put these in early spring. And Mary, I think this was last year, April snowstorm. Here's another one from Mary. Mary, I wasn't sure when this bloomed, but I was thinking it probably blooms in late spring. I don't know if you want to say anything about it. I'll give you a chance if you want to unmute. If not.
It's in bloom right now.
It's in bloom right now. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Right now.
Absolutely gorgeous. And Mary, the rest of yours I have in the summer. So, and this Judy sent, Judy Stallworth. Judy lives in West Bath. And Judy, did you want to unmute for a second? I know the deer have eaten her crocus last year, and I was at Judy's the other day. She has some beautiful crocus, and some of them have already been eaten this year as well.
Yes, the deer don't like the snow, but as soon as I get ready to put out some deer out, they eat all the flowers.
Oh,
They're all gone.
Oh dear, dear. Well, here's something the deer aren't eating, huh? This is a cute visitor, I thought, to Judy's garden. Judy was the only one who sent pictures of lady slippers. And I used to have several patches of lady slippers, but over the years, they seem to have disappeared. So I'm hoping I'll get some more. And Judy, these are yellow lady slippers you've got as well, right?
Yes, when I was taking a master gardener class, Barbara Murphy was one of our people and professors, and she had license to sell things like this. And so I got several things, and the yellow ladies have survived. Well, the deer like them, but I put wire over them and anything I can to booby trap the deer.
This is the first yellow lady slipper I've ever seen before. I don't know about others, but I didn't even know they came in yellow.
Yeah, she cultivates them.
Does she? Okay. And Judy, the barrenwort, is that the bright pink flower?
Yeah, epimedium, I think is what I call it, with the heart-shaped leaves.
Uh-huh.
I also have a yellow one, although the Bath Garden Club was here to dig today, so it might have left the premises. I wasn't here.
And this is beautiful. Judy thought those were flowering crab apples. Some of the photos that folks sent me, if I wasn't exactly sure what it was, I tried to find out. And Tricia, we're at Tricia's house now, Tricia Sheaf. And Tricia described this one as her spring garden, but it's David's daffodils. Is that correct, Tricia? I know she's on
Yes,
today.
yes, it is.
Okay. And Tricia, do you know the name of this hellebore?
I don't know the names of my hellebores, and I have quite a few because our daughter lived in Augusta, and when she sold her house and was, getting married, we transplanted them all down here. And so all the ones that she had, of course, she didn't have names for them, and so I don't have names for them, but they're still blooming and doing well, and I've added more to them.
They're beautiful, beautiful.
I'm sorry that they're in the wrong direction, but this is my favorite.
Yes.
That is my trillium, which I do prize.
And as you can see, Tricia told me she's had it for at least 10 years. And I think, Tricia, you said that it's grown by 10 times the size it was originally.
That's true. It has.
Beautiful.
And you can see, the leaves around that of the bloodroot. And if you don't know, if anybody needs bloodroot, I have single bloodroot and double bloodroot, and those leaves around were the bloodroot plant. But I have lots of bloodroot.
Okay, I'm sorry, I went ahead.
Right there, see the bloodroot, see the sort of like a fig leaf or something down there in the right corner.
Uh-huh.
That's bloodroot, and I have single and double.
Okay. And Tricia, this is yours as well, I believe. Beautiful, beautiful iris.
It's my husband. He raises the iris, so he has
Okay.
beautiful iris.
Oh, he does. I remember he tried to, when we were having a yard sale, a neighborhood yard sale over here, and David and Tricia came to our house for the yard sale. David was admiring my iris and wondered, if I was going to divide them or not. Okay, here we have a California garden. This is from one of our newest members, Carrie Draper, one of my best friends. So Carrie, you want to unmute and tell us about your yellow camellias?
I do. It came from the Yamashiro Nursery, which is one of California's oldest camellia nurseries. The family had that nursery for more than 100 years prior to World War II. And sadly, when Pearl Harbor happened, their nursery was confiscated because they were Japanese Americans, even though their family had lived in this country for more than 100 years. And they were able to have a lot of their camellias, about 60,000 of them, taken into the Descanso Gardens. If many of you are familiar with that famous gardens in Los Angeles. And after the war, the Yamashiro family reestablished their nursery, and it's still operational today. And that's just a little background on where my camellias came from, the plant from that nursery.
Absolutely beautiful. And thank you for that.
Sure.
Thank you for that history. And this is Carrie's too.
Yes, and I gotta give my husband credit. Kevin loves to grow roses, and he said that he thought that this was the Abe Lincoln. For those of you in the club who are rose growers and enthusiasts, please correct me if his memory doesn't serve him right, but he believes that's the Abe Lincoln.
Okay. And Carrie, these are your iris.
Yes, and these were transplanted and brought from New England. In fact, not far from Brunswick. Friends of ours who moved from Maine out to Southern California brought their bulbs, and we are so grateful that they thrived. They made it. They did it.
They're gorgeous. And here's another one.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. And this again originated from the great state of Maine. And I'm just so thankful that you all have such success and great variety, and to have it made its way out to LA. Wow. So yep, our season's very short compared to yours. You get to enjoy them longer.
And And this was the final one that Carrie had sent me. And I said, it looks a little bit like Russian sage, I thought.
Believe it or not, this is a lavender plant. And
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry that I don't know the species of lavender, but this is a lavender plant and it does real well, drought tolerant. And just to cut that and have it in the home, oh, it just smells so good. But believe it or not, that's a lavender plant.
Wow, beautiful. And I just want to tell everybody that Carrie lives in Virginia. And Carrie and I go back more than 30 years. We used to work together when we were single on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And so Carrie wanted to join a garden club. So she joined Harpswell, even though she moved from California to Virginia.
And I'm trying to find the gardeners here. So thank you for adopting me, everyone.
Great to have you, my dear.
Thank you.
And here we're now at Harpswell Historic Park Gardens in the spring. And Becky, I can't remember if you sent me this. Someone did, and I stuck it in here. Looks like an early iris. I don't know if anybody knows what it is. If you do, unmute yourself. But you see it's popping up through the leaves. It's just a gorgeous blue. Here's a pretty shot of Currier McEwen's garden in the early spring. This, I think, Becky, I think you sent me this with photos from the gardens at Centennial Hall. I don't know what this is. And Mary or Becky or someone, can anybody tell what this is?
I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's growing in the vinca underneath the tree in Jean's garden. So,
Okay. Well, hang on, Becky, because I have another one here that's coming up. Not this one, these beautiful crocus. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous color, I think. But this, can somebody tell me what this is from Centennial Hall?
oh, and they're in bloom now. Mary, I could look it up, but does Mary know the name?
Chionodoxa.
Say that again, Mary. Chionodoxa?
Chionodoxa, C-H-I-O-N. Maybe it's Chionodoxa.
Okay, and it must be a bulb.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Yep.
and
Okay.
spreads readily.
Beautiful.
Bulb.
I love that color.
It's blooming as we speak.
Okay. And Becky, here we are. I've split Becky. Becky sent me several photos. So this is early spring at Becky's house. Becky, I said that your daffodils must love the sea air here. And I see you've got some other little, looks like blue flowers, very faint.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that is. That's down by the shoreline.
We have more coming later of Becky's. And Nancy, I know Nancy's on the call today. Nancy Simboli. This is probably later in the spring with your beautiful, looks like an azalea or a rhodie. I'm not sure which one. And is that perennial bachelor button? I think in the front.
Yes, it is an azalea. It was here at the house when I moved here. And the bachelor buttons were in the front of the house and we just moved them to the back, the side of the house. But they seem to like that new location.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful contrast. And Nancy, here's another one of yours with your fish swimming along. This probably could have been in the summer as opposed to the spring, but since I only, go ahead.
I think this was June because I got those fish. Well, it was the next year. I got those fish for my birthday one in 2020 in June, but then this was the next year. But I believe it was in June or July.
Okay.
But those are my favorite ceramic fish.
Yeah. Are those from Fish in the Garden?
My son gave them to me for my birthday, so I'm not sure.
I think they are. I think they are. I don't think Diane Laughlin is with us today, but Diane sent many, many photos. She did an open garden tour, not last year, but the year before. And she's got just some beautiful gardens. Diane was the only one who sent me photos of peonies, which I was kind of surprised, but she's got beautiful peonies here. They'll be coming up in June. I hope we'll have some for our June wedding. This is more from Diane's. Can anybody tell me what the pale blue flower is?
Nancy Kinzer might know because Diane bought Nancy's house.
That's right.
Nancy's here.
Nancy's here. Nancy, do you know what those blue flowers are?
I don't, because it looks like she's added on a lot to what I had there.
Okay.
So I'm not familiar with those.
Okay, well, Nancy, stay unmuted because there's several photos here. Did she add this mountain laurel or did you?
I think I planted that.
That
I'm
is
pretty
gorgeous.
sure I did.
Gorgeous, gorgeous mountain laurel. And the foundation plantings around the house, are any of those yours, Nancy?
The hosta certainly is. This that's is that a spirea? All of this, though, I must say, most of that is new.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the hosta the hosta was not there, but I think she must have divided some. So it looks prettier than when I had it. She's done a lot of really nice work there.
She has, and here's beautiful rhododendron going up. It looks like a ramp going up to the deck.
Yeah, that's the back deck there.
Okay. And lady's mantle and iris. We're still at Diane's house.
I did have a lot of ladies' mantle, so she may have used some of that.
Mm-hmm. Were the iris yours as well or hers?
No, they were not.
Okay. We're back at Becky's house. Becky, I love this photo. Those iris are beautiful in the back there.
Yeah, we had neighborhood exchange of irises. So I gave some of one color and I got some different ones back again. So yeah.
Just, it's such a vivid, it looks blue, almost blue. It might be kind of purple.
Yeah, no, that's a blue one. I have a pale blue and then I have that darker blue one. Yeah.
Gorgeous. And here's more from your garden. More iris, and I thought is that coreopsis in the front?
Yes.
Okay. And for people who have never been to Becky's house, Becky is on the water. And if I didn't know better, I would have sworn these were Mary Maroney's containers because everybody knows how Mary loves purple. These are gorgeous, Becky.
Well, Mary and I have that in common.
Gorgeous containers. Okay, this is one of the gardens that were open to any member of the Garden Club Federation in May last June. Pam Allen, she lives in Nobleboro, and it was incredibly hot and humid the day that we were there. But she has some lovely gardens. She has a lot of shade, a lot of tall, mature trees on her property. So a lot of her garden, as you can see, a lot of shade trees. And Pam also has, oh gosh, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 screen houses on her property as well. This is one of them. Lots of seating area too, which was nice for members because you could bring your lunch and enjoy lunch while you're at Pam's Gardens. Here's another one of her screen houses. Her gardens were also written up in Down East magazine a couple of years ago. This is some of the shade area. She has lots and lots of hostas. She has lots of birdhouses too. Okay, we're heading into the summer gardens. And this photo I took on the Cape Elizabeth garden tour last year. It's sponsored by the Fort Williams Foundation. I was sad to hear that they're not going to do a garden tour this year because their garden tour is just spectacular every year. This is the driveway leading up to Helen Norton's. And Helen had an open garden day for members last year. And it was a cloudy day. And when I got there, Judy Stallworth and I went with her husband, Ernie. And the heavens opened up while we were there. But it's actually when it's cloudy, even after rain, it's a great time to take photos. So sit back and enjoy some of these beautiful photos from Helen Norton's gardens. Helen has a lot of sculptures in her gardens if you've never been there before. This is before you're getting to the driveway that I just showed you. She's got a beautiful, beautiful arrangement of hostas with this lovely sculpture. And she's got some deer protection. And I was talking to Judy Stallworth, and Judy has bought some of the same things that Helen had. So Judy's going to see if she has as good of luck as Helen does keeping the deer away. Here's another one of Helen's sculptures in a garden that's closer to the house. Of course, you know, Helen is quite elderly and she has help doing this garden. As I said, it rained the day that we visited Helen's gardens, but it was a great time after the rain to take a photo. There's Helen. Helen doesn't like to have her picture taken, but she allowed me to do it last year. And this photo I took of Helen's garden. And if you go to the current Garden Club Federation of Maine website, you'll see it's one of the rotating photos on the website. This is some of Helen's lavender garden, which is absolutely spectacular. And she has, I call it a kinetic sculpture that moves in the center of this garden. You kind of see it, it's silver right in the center of it. And this is part of Helen's shade garden with another sculpture. You can see the fogs rolling in over Middle Bay. Now we're at Barbara Aiken's house. I think Barbara's on the call today. Barbara, aren't you? And if you are, if you want to unmute and tell us anything about the lovely hydrangeas you have here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
This is interesting. I've been babying this plant for several years, and because of some landscaping that we had done in an added room on the back of our house, we literally had to dig up this mammoth hydrangea, and it sat in a big bulb on top of the ground, and I wetted it down with burlap for the entire summer. It wasn't supposed to take that long, and it didn't get replanted into October. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to come back and look like that, because it's a gorgeous, gorgeous periwinkle blue that changes into some pinks.
It's beautiful, absolutely stunning. And Barbara, this is yours, one of your day-lilies.
Yes, the lilies that I try to work with are what's called they're not the classic daylily.
The Barth, do you have Barth daylilies?
Oh gosh, no, and I have a complete blank. Let me think for a moment. But I have, oh gosh, I'm complete blank. They're extra large, and I'm not a great photographer. I just do these snapshots on my phone, but this one was so beautiful, beautiful shades of yellow that I just had to take it. I didn't think it came out too badly.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And Barbara, here's your front steps and your planters.
Yes, yes.
Looks like you've got some coleus you've put in them.
Yes, that coleus I've kept alive through stem cuttings for probably about 5 years now.
Wow. Wow, some begonias there. Look like some nonstop begonias.
Those are dragon wing begonia.
Dragon wing, okay.
They're very large leaf. They come in pink and red.
Okay. And here's the mixed border at your house.
Yes, yes. In the spring, that's full of iris. And in the
Okay.
summer, it changes over to the lilies. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name of these. Because I go out of my way. They're hard to find. I started them from bulb a long time ago. But they're extra big.
Yeah, beautiful. And I didn't know what these were, but I just said it's a sunny spot in your garden.
They're teddy bear sunflowers,
Oh, okay.
and they're not big on purpose. They're only, I don't know, about 2 feet high, and the flowers are these like very puffy things. So I don't really have the space for the very large sunflower, and I love these. So the bees and the butterflies like them too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mary Maroney. Mary, do you want to unmute yourself and tell us what you were doing up on your roof that day that you decided to take this photo?
I was roofing.
Oh,
We were just working up on the roof, doing odds and ends.
odds and ends. Yeah, it is. I think a spectacular photo, Mary. And
Sorry
just
about
shows.
the hose.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice the hose. I don't think the rest did either. But no, I just thought this was a spectacular photo, Mary.
Thank you.
And so we've got Mary. Mary, you take photos of everything that you grow and make a journal or
No, I just take photos for the record. So I'll know next year, maybe, what I did last year.
yeah, yeah.
This is hydrangea tough stuff.
I'm not familiar with this one. I've never seen it
It's
before.
a mountain hydrangea.
Okay. Do you remember where you found it?
It's very common, actually, probably O'Donnell's or Skillins,
Okay.
but it's very hardy.
Yeah. And of course, we know how Mary likes purple. This is gorgeous.
Some years it works.
Yeah.
Other years it doesn't cooperate.
Well, it's prolific. It was prolific when you took this photo. And this one I absolutely love too. Your front garden steps. And as I said, can you tell what Mary's favorite color is? It's purple. Mary, do you want to tell people what that is that you've got between the steps?
Oh, that's creeping time.
Keeping time. Okay.
My next door neighbor, Martha Coles, gave me a couple of sprigs probably 40 years ago.
Wow.
And it just keeps growing.
Now, do you have to trim it back or so it won't cover
No,
the
I
entire?
just let it go. It dies back a little bit here and there, but it seems to come back every year,
Yeah, gorgeous.
sometimes with a vengeance.
Yeah. And here's your dogwood.
Right outside my kitchen window.
Beautiful. I like this too.
And that's Azalea Karen.
And Mary, how big is your compost bin there? So we'll have an idea of how big your azalea is.
It's about 6 feet. That's
6 feet.
3 azaleas.
Three azaleas. I was going to say that's one huge azalea. Okay.
And this year the deer are eating it.
Oh dear.
Mm.
And here's another one of Mary's. Mary, your dry riverbed.
Mhm.
And this one, oh my goodness, this clematis. Mary, any chance that, excuse me, that you give any cuttings to anyone?
I had a bunch of seedlings that I sold for the garden club a couple of years ago.
Did you? Okay.
Judy Wiley has a couple, and I think Jackie Pellerin may have 1 or 2. But it does pretty well.
Does it? Beautiful. And it has a beautiful smell, if I remember correctly. the
Yes,
scent,
it does. And the bees love it, of course.
Of course. And Mary, want to talk about your planter?
I wish I could tell you what the plants are. I have no idea. Just
It's a
collect-
beautiful arrangement of succulents.
A collection of succulents, that's it.
Mm-mm-mm. Okay, Wendy, I think Wendy's on the call today. Wendy, did you want to unmute and tell us about your beautiful gardens taken with your husband's drone?
Thank you. Well, it was an area that was complete scrub. Can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, it was complete scrub on either side when we purchased the property. So we had a lot of work to do, a lot of roots, a lot of rocks, and it was all clay. We used our tractor, a rototiller, and then we dug down at least 15 inches in each area where you see the raised beds and added a lot of manure and peat moss and more, compost to get the beds going. And there is landscape fabric and sand and then little white pea stones around the edges that really cuts down on the weeds. The inside perimeter is our annuals, and then you can see on the outside too. And we have a real problem with deer. We have cattle fencing all around the edge, except for the front, which is more of a little stockade fence. And then
Yeah.
2 years ago, Gary built the little garden cottage. Our squash bed is right outside. They never bother those plants,
Mm.
but the rest of it we do keep. So this was early summer because I can see the asparagus, the garlic. There's
How big-
probably June.
How big would you say your garden is?
The enclosure is 40 by 60.
40 by 60. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful garden shed. It almost looks pink.
It looks what?
Pink.
No, I think it's just the cedar shingles were they were new, obviously. So you're getting a little tannish hue to it. They're not pink.
Okay. Okay. It's a gorgeous. I mean, when you sent it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous.
We're really
you're gonna
happy
have-
with it.
You're going to have to hire your husband out, I think. After people see this are going to say, wow, I wonder if I could hire him to come and take a picture of my garden. And here's
Yeah.
another one that Wendy
That's-
sent.
That just shows the long range of where we are. So you can see the lower area. There's a lot of shrub and scrub, and that's what we had to dig out of there. And then we have what we call the funnel, which is a little tunnel below the squash bed. And on either side, we've planted gourds and sweet pea, morning glories, and green beans. So by the end of the summer, it's just completely in bloom. And,
Wow.
just walk through it. It's just kind of a fun thing to do.
It's just gorgeous. And oh my gosh, the trees. You have got trees everywhere.
Yes, well, when we bought this property, it had been neglected for 20 years in terms of specimen trees that were needing to be pruned and what have you. But it was fun to discover all the different trees that they had there. Further down, there's a white fringe tree. I'm trying to think what else. We've got kusa, Japanese maple. But this was originally the pipeline that went from Mitchell Field. This
Okay.
little green strip here. And so in the years when it was the pipeline, before we purchased it, the property was kind of divided into thirds. And I think they were not allowed to use that space. And so you can see lots of, cultured trees on the left.
Mhm.
And then it was kind of ignored on the right because they weren't allowed to do anything there. And then when they won that property back from, what was it, the naval?
The Navy, it was a
Yeah.
jet fuel pipeline to the naval base.
Right. They filled it all in with rocks and what have you and planted grass over it again. So that was previous to when we purchased it. I think it had only happened a few years before we purchased it. It was given back to owners. But so that green swath was part of the pipeline.
Wow.
And then trust me, it was just filled with rocks where we dug up to get our garden going too. But yeah,
Wow. Wow. What a lot of work you've done.
it was.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm going to unmute.
Okay, thank you. This was a June field trip that members were able to go on. But in case you missed it, and I missed it because I was someplace else, June Lacombe opened her gardens in Pownell to the Garden Club. And June is known for sculptures. Her business is representing different artists from around New England with their sculptures. I took this photo from her website. It's a stainless steel sculpture. I don't know if it was there. It might not have been during last year's garden tour. But if you go to her property, you'll see a lot of sculptures around her property. This was one of her planters. And if you look in the foreground, you'll see a heron that she has. And I described this as much of her property is left in a natural state. If you drive to her garden, you go down a long, I want to say it's a dirt or rock road to get down there, and it's you're going through lots and lots of woods, and then you come across this beautiful piece of property that she has. Lots of foxgloves. And then her window boxes. I think, Becky, did you go on the tour? Because I think these must be your photos, because I didn't go on the tour last year. I
Yes.
couldn't go.
Yes.
Yeah, I love these. I love the combination that she's used in her
Yeah,
window
I like the colors in those window boxes.
Yeah. And here's some delphinium around another one of her I called it a rustic outbuilding. And here we are. I don't think Susan was able to join us today. But Becky, I think, did you provide these photos of Susan Hazard's
Yes.
garden in
Yes,
South
we
Freeport?
opened her garden to our members the same day we were at the Pownell Garden. So it was
Okay.
a lovely afternoon. We had picnic down by the water there in South Freeport.
Yeah,
And
that's,
yeah, great gardens. Yeah.
I think she's probably on the Harrisicot River, maybe.
She's right near it's a park, Winslow Park.
Winslow Park. Okay, I think that is part of the Harrisicot River in the background.
It's where my daughter, when she participated in the Lobsterman Triathlon, that's where they had the swimming.
Okay. Here's another one that Becky took at Susan's house. And this is great. I love this one because her garden bench matches, looks like peonies in the background. And even the birds have a lovely view in Susan's gardens. Oh. And I don't think Les is with us today, Les Klein. Les does our yearbooks for us. This is the only one that Les sent me, and I wish she would have sent more because she must have some spectacular color in her gardens. This particular photo, I'm doing publicity for our garden club events right now until we find a publicity person, but I used this photo. I sent it to the Topsom Crier to see if they'd put it with our announcement of our our virtual garden tour, and they used it. Okay, we're back at Centennial Hall to see how it looks in the summertime. You can see our phlox, our white phlox, and I think that's our pink phlox in bloom. Becky, do you want to talk about the Three Sisters planters for somebody who doesn't, who might not have seen it?
The Three Sisters planters, Dave Hackett from the Harpswell Historical Society suggested that we might be interested in trying that, and he explained the history of it. Native Americans called the three plants corn, squash, and beans were the three sisters. Between the three vegetables, they kind of got a very sustaining diet. And the corn grows up and supports the beans that twine around them, and then the squash floats all down onto the ground, and so sadly they grew, but they didn't produce much vegetables. We were hoping to donate to the Big Coast Hunger Prevention Program, but we didn't have anything that was donatable.
It was a good try anyway. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Here's the cutting garden, which we drew from a lot last year for bouquets and for our wedding. We only had one wedding last year, but the flowers were just prolific last year in the cutting garden, including the dahlias, which we have Becky to thank for because Becky overwinters them at her house and then she plants them again in the spring.
I've started them in my basement already.
Thank you, Becky.
Maybe we'll have some for the first wedding. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we've got dahlias and then there's some cleome. You can see the spider flower cleome and some Joe Pye weed in this picture too.
Yeah, Joe Pye weed on the right. And Becky, we're back to your garden. This is the one, you know, if you logged on today and you saw Becky, this was her background photo that she uses when she does her Zoom.
Yeah.
Becky, you want to talk about your gardens here? I think some people heard you talk about, you know, your neighbor gave you some loam, but not everybody did.
Yeah, this the garden was a bare spot in our lawn, and over the years I've put in some low-growing shrubs like low bush blueberries, and I've got a couple of native beach plum and rose, and then I planted some perennials and some scattered a wildflower seeds. So this is kind of the wildflower seeds, and I've also got some petunias interspersed that I put in, and there's, yeah, so this is pretty much what you see in the middle of summer, a lot of little coreopsis and daisies and some petunias peeking out around the bottom.
Beautiful. And your oriental lilies, oh my gosh, is that one stalk or is that several stalks?
That's one right there. That's one clump. They're the stargazer lilies. I don't know. Barbara was trying to think of the name of the lilies at her house, and they might have been stargazer because they smell wonderful. But I had them originally all in one clump, and I had to spread them out because the scent was so overwhelming.
I've never seen a clump that big, one stalk. That's incredible. And here you go, Becky, some more.
Yep, those are some of the daisies down by the water, the shoreline. So that's my more naturalized area. It's I let a lot of things just kind of grow wherever they want to down there.
And I loved this photo of your coneflowers.
Yeah, that's a close up. I got real close to the flowers, and you can see Bailey Island is in the background, probably in the direction of Nancy Kinzer's current home is right over that way, because that's looking toward the entrance to Mackerel Cove. So.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, we're back at Diane Laughlin's again, and I took this picture of Diane and her bear, her carved bear, during her open garden day. So she didn't send this to me. I had it, but I thought it was a spectacular photo in our virtual garden tour today.
I think she told me that bear was carved from a tree that they had to cut down.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, just
we
incredible.
babied that tree along for quite a while, and evidently they just gave up on it and had the bear done because it kept on losing limbs, you know, through the years. So that's a great addition, I think.
That's, I tell you, I've never been to a garden before to see something that big made out of a tree that was there before.
Yeah.
So
the tree lives on in a different way.
In a different way, right, right. So Diane's gardens are lovely in the summer, and these are some allium that grow in the summer, and of course bee balm, lots of bee balm. I called this Saluting America in her garden. She's got looks like a dwarf maple front pole.
I think that's Joe Pye weed in the background.
Joe, I mean, yeah. And I say, "Do you have summer blooming allium in your garden?" Diane does. I ended up buying some after Mary put some in our Gold Star garden over in Brunswick. And I'm hoping they come back. They came back with a vengeance last year in the Gold Star garden. And I got some and put them in my garden last year. So I'm starting to see the green come up. So I think at least 2 of the 3 made it through this crazy winter that we had. Okay, we're back to my house now for late spring, early summer. I have Globemaster allium. I think I've got about 15 of them, and I just love them. This one, I loved it because it looks like it has a tuft growing out of the top of it, you know, like a hat or something. I have, you'll see sweet woodruff there and some ajuga that's in there as well next to the white rhododendron. I bought a 6-pack of sweet woodruff about 15 years ago. It's now taken over the end of my driveway. It's absolutely spectacular. And the one thing that I mean, you really, you know, something this aggressive you think would be, you know, invasive, but it actually is crowding out another invasive, which was goutweed. I hardly see any goutweed there now because the sweet woodruff has taken over. Here's my hosta trying to make its way through the sweet woodruff. And this is a funny story, but like many of you probably, I like to raise amaryllis in the winter and force them. And so I gave up on some bulbs and just threw them in the woods. And one day I was on our screen porch looking into the woods, and I thought something's growing in the woods. It's over where the sweet woodruff is too. And the next thing I knew, boom, here is what came out of my compost pile. Now these are a terracotta color amaryllis that I get from Keepers Van Engelen Bulb Company in Connecticut. And so, as I say here, the lesson is don't ever give up on anything, especially, you know, go out and see what's growing in your compost pile. You never know. So I love these amaryllis. And anybody who's been to my house knows that my husband feeds the squirrels and the chipmunks. And so I happened to take a picture of this guy, this red squirrel sitting on top. He's sitting on top of a cement frog that's on our rail. And I've got, besides my spinners, I've got some garden art sprinkled out through the yard. And I lost my hibiscus, but before I lost it, I was able to get a swallowtail to visit, and I happened to have my camera out that day. So this is a close-up. Last year was just an incredible year for my blue endless summer hydrangea and my Shasta daisy in the front of our house. And I'm hoping this year, I don't know, because we had such a strange winter with the, you know, with the really cold temperatures and the freeze and the thaw. Oops. Excuse me for a second. My sister trying to call. And here are poppies that self-seeded along my fence. Excuse me for 1 second, because I can't mute myself. Sorry about that. My sister in South Carolina trying to get. Several years ago, matter of fact, it was when Ronald Reagan passed away. I decided that I wanted to paint the inside of my garden shed doors. And so during his funeral, I got out some paint and I just started painting. And I'm not a painter, as you can tell, but I wanted to reflect the flowers that I had in my garden at the time. So that's what I did with the inside of my garden shed doors. We're back at Judy's house. Judy's in West Bath. And Judy, do you want to unmute yourself and talk about your summer gardens here?
Yeah, well, I like the lilies, and I only plant the oriental ones because the either the red lily bug or the deer eat the others. Last this is a 2-year-old photo. Last year, the deer ate that wonderful tall, what do they call them? Anyway, they grow really tall lilies. And so I may try them again. I'm still working on the deer problem.
As we all are. Here's another one, Judy. Over, Judy lives on Shoal Cove. Is that correct, Judy?
Yeah, Shoal Cove in, it's near Brigham's Cove in West Bath. This shows some of my dahlia gardens and also the climbing hydrangea, which is over 10 years old. And so we have lots and lots of hydrangea flowers available for weddings. So that's always a good thing. But of
Yes,
course,
it
you need a very tall ladder to get these. And I still have this poppy. I bought it from White Flower Farm. And it's really spectacular, but it doesn't seem to get any bigger. So I only get 2 or 3 flowers a year. This is one of my guests. Fortunately, Dewey was on a leash when this critter was eating the, well, I think he was after the dahlias, actually.
Mm. And for those who don't know, Judy's been caring for her son Harding's dog Dewey for years now. And so Judy and Ernie have kind of adopted Dewey, the dog.
Yes. However, we also have a Velcro cat, and he's becoming friendly with all the diggers that have come to the garden. So everybody knows Mackerel.
And I put Judy for this. I said, even Judy has a lot of mature trees on her property, and your delphinium is still thriving, even, and your daylilies in the front, despite all the trees.
Yes, they seem to be okay. They get morning sun. But,
yeah, here's a beautiful shot you took of a hummingbird moth.
yes, I love getting those, and I always have 2 or 3 every summer. Of course, it might be the same one 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, from the same family. This was, I thought, was a pretty shot, Judy, with your window boxes on your deck rail, and you can see Judy's lucky enough to have a beach at the bottom of her property. It's a community beach. They've got a float there, and they've got picnic tables, and it's a great place to congregate. But your flowers,
You
yes,
can even see the flag.
you can see, yep, see the
down on
flag.
a rock. Everybody uses that to check the direction of the wind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have asked me about this railing. These window boxes are on a sub deck to my deck, so that I don't have a railing at eye level when you sit. When we were building the house, Ernie asked the architect if there wasn't something he could do about it. He had put up one piece of the railing, and of course we weren't going to be able to see the water. And so he said, well, I designed this for somebody once, but they didn't want to bother with it. So that's how we got it. It's a lot of fun. It's also a lot of work.
Yeah, Judy has a very long railing. Okay, we're back at another open garden day that our members were invited to come to. This is at Katie Gannon Janelle's house in Falmouth. She was the July open garden day for the Garden Club Federation of Maine. This is a photo I took from the inside of Katie's house, looking out into her gardens. Katie's an interior designer, and if you go to her gardens, you can tell that she has a decorating background, just the way she lays out her gardens. Her long fence in the front is probably at least 200 feet long, and she's got flowers planted all along the front fence. I took this photo of Katie's lilies, and I liked it so much that it's another photo. If you go on the GCFM's website, you'll see it's on the homepage on the rotator. And Katie has this outdoor screen house that she's got some chairs and table in there that she and her family like to go to and just hang out in the summer. This is a view, some of the fence from Katie's front garden. And this was the August open garden day for GCFM members at Cynthia Hosmer's Gardens. The name of her property is Brave Boat Harbor Farm in York. It's right on the Atlantic Ocean. Now, many members of our club have been there in the past because she came to talk to us. She's also a master floral design judge with the Maine Judges Council. And she invited us to bring a picnic lunch a few years back and visit her gardens. Another shot, this is of her front gardens. Her home has been featured in several magazines for her gardens. She opens her gardens during the Garden Conservancy's open garden days in the summer. She's got apple trees. These are some of the people who were visiting that August day. It was at least 90 degrees that day, but we had over 100 members who showed up to see her gardens. You can tell this is an old time swing that overlooks the Atlantic Ocean. The property is a historic piece of property, and you'll see a few shots later. It used to be owned by her husband's family. It's another shot looking at this big barn that she also has on the property. Here's the plaque. The house has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And on the property is this family graveyard. I didn't get the chance to ask her. I don't know if anybody knows who's on today, if the graves were part of her family or her husband's family. But you'll see that they date back to the 1800s when they were buried. We're into fall now. I did not take this photo, so can't tell you where it's at, but I loved it. We're back at my house. Last year I had tons of Rudbeckia along my front steps. Last March, we contracted with Davis Landscaping in Lisbon to redo our front walkway. They didn't get to it until November. That's because of the supply chain shortage with bricks or with stones, the pavers we wanted. So the garden on the left that you see, we had to completely dig that up, and part of the garden along where the sidewalk was going in. Those plants are now in our vegetable garden. And just the other day, they finally brought us some loam because a lot of the loam had washed away from that left garden. So we can get the plants out of the veggie garden and back into my flower gardens. This is my limelight hydrangea, which, as I say, my husband has to stand on a ladder to prune it. I got this plant for $1 from Rocky Hill Greenhouses. If you remember Rocky Hill, they stopped selling plants several years ago, and now they just do landscaping. But when they were going out of business, they had limelight hydrangeas, just a little stick for $1. And so that's how that started. And look at it today. It's one of my favorite hydrangeas. This birdhouse was a gift from our neighbors. And I say that the birds are lobster loving with the bee balm in the back. And the hummingbirds love it too. I was lucky enough to have the dahlias, and then I found this scarecrow, and I thought, oh my gosh, the scarecrow matched the dahlias. So this is actually one of my favorite garden shots that I have. And this was last year's bounty from the garden. For those of you who might have remembered, I was the region director for all the New England states. I gave that job up to my successor in last May. And my region project was feeding the hungry. And so the vegetables that came out that day went to Midcoast Hunger Prevention. We're back to Mary's house with a couple of fall shots. Mary, this is New England aster, I'm sure, of some variety with a monarch butterfly visiting. And this was Mary's other photo. It's loaded with monarch butterflies. So Mary, you should be called a monarch way station, I think. We're back at Becky's in the fall. And Becky, as you can see, she bought 2, 4, 6, at least 8 mums and asters from our fall fest. And Becky, are they coming back, do you think?
Yes, there's at least 5 that are growing as we speak that have got green shoots coming up. I haven't checked the last week or so. So a good portion of them are going to be in bloom again this fall.
Great. So those of you who buy our mums and our asters, they'll be going on sale again. We'll have them in September, right after Labor Day, and see what you can do with them.
Yeah,
can
and
plant
if you
them.
see down below, there's a little clump of white just below, like in a straight line below these. Yeah, right in there. Those are from our mom's sale about 4 years ago.
Wow. Becky, I didn't know what this was.
Milkweed.
Oh, that's milkweed. Oh,
Butterfly weed is, I think that it's called it, butterfly weed.
okay.
And goldenrod.
And goldenrod, of course, solidago in the background.
Yeah, but those are the pods from the butterfly weed.
Okay, interesting. And is that Strawberry Sunday?
Yes, it is.
Strawberry Sunday hydrangea. Becky's got a few of those on her property. We're back to Judy to see a few photos of her dahlias in the fall. Judy, anything you want to say about your dahlias here?
Oh, no, it just that I have an awful lot of them, and they're now down into the garage, and it looks like we had a very good winter. So I'd be glad to donate some.
Okay, I think I'm going to come and get some.
Good.
There's another moth. This was a beautiful dahlia.
The moth was pretty too.
Moth is pretty too, yeah. Here's a close-up. Judy took this and submitted it for the New England Garden Club annual meeting because we had Arabella Dane, a fabulous photographer and judge, do a program on taking better photos. So this was one of Judy's entries that she sent to Arabella.
That was a great program. I hope we do it again.
Yeah. And this is one of mine and Judy's favorite dahlias, Cafe au Lait. And I said it's a cross between a soft pale peach and almost a shade of almond. I looked today and some catalogs say it's kind of tan, peachy pink, pale peachy pink. I mean, it's hard to put your finger on one color. It can look different depending on how the sun's shining any day on it. But it's beautiful, absolutely stunning dahlia.
It's usually pretty slow too.
Very slow, yeah. And so Judy has this lobster scarecrow new in her garden, and people ask, where did you get that scarecrow, Judy? Well,
I got it at the New England. Was it the New England
Yeah.
conference in Wells? And it
Yeah.
was made by Suzanne Bushnell.
Yep.
And I won it. I was the high bidder.
She was a high bidder, and if I had enough energy after that, I should have made one for myself. But and people asked me where I got those socks and said, bite me. Joanne Fabric had them. So
Oh.
love that scarecrow. I hope the scarecrow made it through the winter okay. And
Oh, he did. He's still hiding. We've had a lot of big wins lately.
right. Anyway, it was my scarecrow. And Judy, want to talk about your Christmas cactus?
Well, this is actually a monster in my house. I have a screened-in porch on the side of the house, and it has a glass roof, a plastic roof. So I put my Christmas cactus out there, and now I can barely get this one back in the house. I break it off a lot because it was dead. It had just woody stems. So I put it out there, and then every inch of the woody stems grew a new plant. So
Oh my goodness.
it was Ernie's mother's, and so I've had it a long time.
It's spectacular. And speaking of scarecrows, this is Becky's scarecrow that she also bid and won at the New England Garden Club silent auction. and she put it in front of Centennial Hall. So Becky, I hope it shows up again this fall.
It's in the storage shed by Centennial Hall. We're gonna reconstruct it and put it out again, yes.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
it was a lobster lady made by Old York
Old
Garden?
York Garden Club. Yeah, Old York Garden Club did that. Yeah. And I wanted to bring in again, this is a fall shot of the gals who were taking care of the Hartsville Office Garden in the fall. We started the show with them and thought we'd put them back in here. Nancy, if you're still here, she did, these are also some of our mums probably from our sale with some pumpkins.
Yes, they are. They are mums from the sale.
Yeah. And we're at the final season. We don't have too many winter gardens, but this is from my yard. This was a few years ago because I have a different garden arch now, but the snow was really deep that year. And I made that kissing ball. I was into kissing balls for a while. I love my front garden in the winter. And this was taken after we had a fairly good snow that had built up. My snow gauge is out there. You can see how deep the snow is because my bench sits, oh gosh, about 15 inches off the ground, at least 15 inches. And I keep my decorative stakes out all year for winter interest. This is in my sister's garden where I put the angels. And this is my newest spinner. It's over 6 feet tall. And the other day when the storm was raging here and the wind was blowing like crazy, my spinners were just going crazy. This is a lotus, I think they call it, the lotus design. Bottom half spins one way, the top half spins another way. And I keep my decorative flags out. My husband changes them for me. He makes his way through the snow and puts a different one out every month. And my garden angel, my husband decorated it for Christmas. He put some bows on my arch and he put one on my garden angel. I got that garden angel as a result of the Bar Harbor Garden Club does a garden every other year. They alternate with the garden club of Mount Desert. And a gentleman in Sullivan carves sculptures out of pink granite. And so that comes in 3 pieces. The head is one piece, the wings are one piece, and then the body's another piece. It is quite heavy, I will tell you. My husband will tell you that too. It's probably a couple 100 pounds. And Becky sent this one picture from her winter garden with the snow gauge in the background. And Judy sent a couple of pictures from her gardens in the wintertime when the leaves are gone and you can see Shoal Cove. It's another one with her window boxes covered in snow. And Judy, I love this with the moon coming up and the stars and the deer. This had to be during Christmas time, I believe. And here's one from Mary, which I said that her garden is flanked with trees standing sentinel until the spring arrives. And this is the final photo, our Gold Star Garden in the winter. I want to thank everybody who helped with gardens by sending their photos in this year. There were 13 of us. And also thank the gals, June Lacombe, Katie, Cynthia, and Pam for opening their gardens. So you can see who all submitted pictures this year from their gardens. And I just have a few more photos if you have time to hang on here, because I wanted you to see where some of your garden flowers go. Jackie, I hope Jackie's still on. We do flowers for weddings, as many of you know. And this summer we have 3 weddings. We have one in June, one in July, one in August. We only had one wedding last summer. And Jackie is what we call our fearless leader. She's the wedding chairman. These are just some of the flowers that we picked in people's gardens last year for the wedding, which is one of the largest we've ever done. Jackie, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Oh, yeah,
I
you can
think
see.
that we had 3 things that we had to do that we've never done before. And sometimes you got to stretch yourself a little bit, but I can say that Barbara Aiken and Judy and yourself, and actually my sister Lucy worked with Barbara on a rather large and heavy arch for an arbor. And Judy and Suzanne worked on a barrel toppers, the big whiskey barrel toppers. They each made one, and they were quite substantial. It was a lot of work putting together the framework underneath to hold all of this stuff. And then, but it got done. That was a big wedding.
Yeah.
The one we're doing in August this year is a big wedding. And she hasn't talked to me about arches, but she did want us to decorate the inside of the tent. And it's at Livewell Farm. And I said, no. I said, we'll do all of your other pretty things, but we're not going to be climbing on ladders to wrap the poles and whatever else. There's Judy working on this big barrel topper. That's a finished product. So it was quite large and really pretty.
Yeah. Jackie, you want to talk about the unusual wedding? I guess it's in June that has a Hindu.
Oh yeah, we're doing, actually that's let me see, that's July wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, the couple, that's also Livewell Farm. And on Friday night, they're having a haldi ceremony. Some of you may know what that is, some may not. The bride will wear a sari and the groom wears the white traditional, whatever it's called. And their guests come up to them as they're seated on a settee. Oh, there's my husband carrying the arch. There was a head behind there. It's pretty funny.
Yes.
And their guests paint them with a turmeric paste mixture on their faces, their noses, chins, their hands. It's a symbol of a sign of wishing them well and fertility and whatever else. Anyways, that's a Friday night, and we were, and this is the aside that's really funny. We were, traditionally, this ceremony encompasses hundreds, if not thousands, of the gold marigolds that are about this big around. And y'all planted those. My grandmother used to grow them religiously. I don't know who plants them today, and I don't even know where you can buy them today. But anyways, they wanted they wanted several dozen strands of these strung marigolds behind them as a backdrop. So I had a little bit of trickiness there, and we're not doing that. And I came up with a garland feature that I think will satisfy them. Hopefully. I suggested she talk to a Boston florist because they're from the Boston area, and perhaps, you know, they've done that before and they might be willing to make them, I don't know, 30 of these strands hanging, and they're 10-foot long strands. If you go Google haldi ceremony, you'll see what they look like. And so she agreed, you know, that that wasn't doable for us. We've had, you know, over the years, we've had strange offers, you know, strange requests. And and then she's having a regular wedding on Saturday. So the haldi ceremony Friday night will be an interesting one. I don't think we've ever done anything like that. So
no,
there's a framework that goes around behind them, you know, and they drape voile material, and then they hang these strands of marigolds and stuff. And it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, this is the final picture from that particular wedding, but you can see all the work that went into that bridal arch.
Yeah, that was
That
big.
garland, I mean,
And it took two gentlemen to hold it up while we were wrapping it around the framework of the arbor. That was a heavy piece,
Yeah.
but the girls, you know, it was outstanding when it was all said and done. Thank God for Solomon Seal.
yes, yes, yes. So just want to thank Jackie. This is Jackie's last year to be the wedding chairman, but she's just done just a spectacular job. And as I said, we've got 3 weddings this spring. This summer. And so we're going to give it our best. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the garden tour. Again, as Becky said, she's recorded this. It will be on our website eventually, and Harpswell Community TV will have it. And so people who couldn't be here today, I hope they'll be able to watch it. So hope you had a great time, and I hope it inspires people to open their gardens to members.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, Suzanne, very much. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
anytime, we
Thank
always
you.
are willing to take invitations to visit a garden. So if your garden looks pretty good this, a special week, just send an email to Peg Newberg, who does our communications, and she'll send out your invitation for what day you would like people to stop by and visit.